Okay, we've made a couple of changes. We decided to get a cutting board out and chop it up on a cutting board because it was going to be, I want it to be really fine. We're going to introduce this meat into the sterilized medium, and so we're cutting it up really fine. I have some of my own thoughts on this situation. One of them is I'm pretty sure that when Jehovah created the mushroom, he did it perfectly. And so I want all of the bits and pieces together in it when we put the substrate in, because for whatever reason, all of this part, it's all part of the mushroom, not just the spores, but I'm sure for whatever reason the fruit is part of it, and that being the mushroom, not just the spore and the mycelium, but all of it. And it probably fertilizes itself because, that's the way things in nature are created. I did sterilize the cutting board and the knife before I started chopping things up. I saw on one of the videos people going in, running these through and making slurries into it in a blender, and I don't really think that's a good idea, mostly because blenders create a lot of friction, and I don't want the heat to kill any of the spores off either. So we're doing this all by hand, and we're chopping it up by hand. And this is about, I think we're going to chop it up a little bit finer than that. We've already used one pot of the water, and we're having to heat another pot of water up because one pot of water just filled up this bin with the hay in it, and then I sat on top of it in order to keep it weighted down. I'm sitting the soil or the composted manure on top of that, and that's weighting everything down. I also added another implement to my supply list. That's the potato masher. It was really helpful to get into the straw and mash it around in order to get the air bubbles out and to get all the water distributed before I sat this heavy bin on top of it to hold it all down. So that's cooling at the moment. We're going to boil the other pot of water and pour that in, and then we're going to go ahead and build up the bin. This is Heather with Blayzin Star Ranch, and this is the mushroom farming video. Okay, so now we have let the wood chips cool. I've gotten out a large bowl. I also sterilized the large bowl, and I've mixed together about 50% each of the sterilized wood chips and the composted manure breakdown, and I've checked it. It's cool. It's cool to my touch, which is good. It didn't take too long. It's getting kind of dirty in here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to introduce into this the spores from the portobello mushroom. And I'm hoping that there's not really a right or a wrong amount of spores to add in. I'm just putting the entire mushroom in to this batch, and then we are going to just mix it up by hand. Once we get it all introduced into here, we're going to put it into the bin, which we've already set up. So let's just try and get this mixed in well enough. Okay. It actually smells really good. So I already put the straw into the bin, so I think that looks pretty good. So I've got the straw in the bin over here. That is the sterilized straw. I put it into the colander. I squished out as much of the water as I could, and so it's damp, but it's not dripping wet, definitely. So now we will spread the mushroom batch over onto the top of this. Okay, that looks good. It's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Okay, so then we're going to spread this out. Now, some people have suggested putting some paper, like we'll put down a newspaper. I don't think so. I mean, I think people do that in order to keep the moisture up in the mix, but we're just going to leave it like that. And then we're going to lock it on here, and we're going to put it in to the laundry room, which will keep at a steady temperature. Let's just drag it over here. And I got these kind of bins so I can stack them. They fit right in there perfectly. We're going to go and build bin number 2, and we're going to stack it up on top. And we have, how many more bins? I have 2 other bins. We probably won't use those today because I think we're going to do 2 different kinds of mushrooms. We're going to go and find 2 different kinds of mushrooms. One will be the oyster mushrooms, and the other one, I don't know yet. We'll have to decide, but they'll sit here and we'll take a look at them on a regular basis and keep the top of the bin with the mushroom mycelia in it. We will keep spritzing that down once a day until we can see the mushrooms. We also did finish the mini farm. These are the oyster mushrooms. So, oh, you know what? We should put them in here too. We'll just put this in the dark too. This was really easy. All we did was we soaked it. We cut an X into the box that was already pre-prepared. We soaked it down, face down on the X in water so that it would get water throughout. We used distilled water for that. And then we put it back in there, and we're supposed to keep it at the same temperature. It's about 70 degrees. So that's what we're going to do. And we should have some oyster mushrooms coming too. So I think this is the 3rd video. Nope, it's the 4th video for Blayzin Star Ranch. This is Heather Hill. We're signing off. We'll have another video shortly about the button mushrooms because we're going to do a little bit of a different process, but we need to clean up, get rid of these spores before we do anything else. So this is Heather Hill signing off with the mushroom farm video.